This is the Strutmasters front and rear conversion installation for the 1998 through 2007 Lexus LX470. First, raise the rear of your vehicle and always remember to use proper supports. Remember, safety is our primary goal here at Strutmasters. After your vehicle has been properly supported, remove the front and rear wheels. Locate and bleed the hydraulic pressure from the control valve. Remember to close the valve after bleeding the pressure. Disconnect the hydraulic line from over top of the shock. Always wear proper eye protection when doing this, as hydraulic pressure may still be on the line. Now remove the bracket that holds the hydraulic line and move it out of your way. Now you can remove your upper shock mount. Now loosen your lower shock mount. Remove and lower your sway bar end link. This needs to be done to keep it out of the way of removing your shock. Finish removing the lower shock mount and remove the shock from the vehicle. Remember to keep a support under the rear axle and lower it enough to remove the rear coil spring. Be sure to save the upper spring rubber isolator. When installing the new coil spring, position the rubber isolator on top of the spring. The Strutmaster words will always go in the up position. Make sure that the bottom end of the spring is seated into the corner of the lower mounting plate. Now raise the axle back up and be prepared to install the new shock that comes with your kit. Place the rubber isolator on the top of the shock. The large end of the shock will always face up. Guide the shock into the hole of the frame and place the bottom of the shock onto the mounting shaft. This step may require a little persuasion. Install the remaining hardware on the top of the shock. First the rubber isolator, then the washer and nut on top of the rubber isolator. Now install the lower shock mount bolt. Now reattach and tighten the sway bar end link. You should hear a snapping noise when the coil spring seats into the top of the pocket. Now we'll move to the front of the vehicle and disconnect the hydraulic line from the front shock. After we've done this, we'll remove the hardware from the upper shock mount. Always remember to place a support under the lower control arm and then remove the lower shock mount. Now remove the front shock from the vehicle. Follow the same process as the rear when installing the new front shock. Now install and tighten the lower shock mount. Install and tighten all of the components with the upper shock mount. After this is completed, we have to readjust the torsion bars to reset the height of the vehicle. First, we need to remove the bolts to the belly pan and remove the pan to access the torsion bars. Next, loosen the torsion bar bolts and take them completely out. This loosens the torsion bar and allows us to make the adjustment on the front bracket. First, mark the bar and then loosen the bracket. After you've taken the bolts out, slide the bracket back. On the driver's side, move the bar 2 splines counterclockwise. Reinstall and tighten the bracket back to the chassis. Reinstall the back bolt and tighten it so that the bracket is almost 1 inch from the upper bracket. After you've completed this procedure, move to the passenger side of the vehicle and repeat the procedure. Remember though that the bar turns in the opposite direction on the passenger side. If you have lowered the vehicle and it is not sitting at the proper height, adjust the bolt upwards to raise the vehicle or adjust the bolt downwards to lower it. After everything is adjusted properly, reinstall the belly pan. Supplied in your kit is a 3/8 Allen bolt with an O-ring washer. Screw this bolt into the upper hydraulic shock fitting. This keeps the hydraulic fluid from leaking. Once you have done this, simply take the hydraulic line, use a zip tie to tie it out of the way. Now simply reinstall all the wheels and your installation is complete. This completes your Strutmasters front and rear conversion installation for the 1998 through 2007 Lexus LX470.